I have a super duper important question to ask. What happened to good battery life on handheld systems? Just to demonstrate, so this is the Game Boy I brought not too long ago, and this is a system whose battery life I can pretty much turn on, and I never really have to worry about it for about 60 hours of the battery just shutting off. I can just play to my heart's content without having to plug it into a dock or anything like that. Another comparison is the Game Boy. Now, the Game Boy Advance / Game Boy Advance SP. Now, to be fair, this thing probably is low battery at the moment. See what the on button is. I haven't played this in a while. But you can still see, but this has pretty good battery life too. And I feel like I can pretty easily pick up and play any game on the Advance SP. Now, even the Nintendo DS I feel like had pretty solid battery life. From then on out, they started to get worse. Here I have my Nintendo 3DS. Now, this thing I have to charge like every 4 hours. And I really do love the 3DS. I think it has a great variety of games, but I just, for the life of me, I just don't feel confident just playing this system without it running out of battery. Like, I can't just walk anywhere. Like, I could walk into the middle of the woods with my Game Boy where there's, like, nothing to plug it into and be able to play almost to my heart's content. Now, with the Nintendo 3DS, that's not the case. Sure, I can play it, like, in the car and stuff, on the bus, occasionally maybe even on a plane, but if I'm going on a camping trip, there's not going to be anything to plug it in. How am I going to be able to play my Nintendo 3DS games? Now, I could take the Game Boy or the Game Boy Advance SP on a camping trip and not have to worry about that for the most part, because the battery life is so stellar. And now, don't even get me started on the Nintendo Switch's battery life. Look, I love the Nintendo Switch. I play it a lot. In fact, I play it too much, and that's the problem. One of the Switch's big hooks is that you can take it anywhere on the go. So why then is it that every time I turn on the Nintendo Switch to play, say, Zelda or Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze or Mario Odyssey, what have you, on the go, because, you know, in one of my jobs I have pretty large amount of free time, so I can play it in my free time a lot, but it just eats the battery like crazy, way too fast, and I'm always constantly having to flick back to the menu screen to check on the battery life to see where it's at, and go back to the game, which just keeps ruining the immersion. It's very annoying and frustrating. So I just wonder, why is it that Nintendo's handheld devices have gotten so poor when it comes to battery life? I have a few theories. Obviously, technology has progressed a lot since then. You know, the games that the Game Boy played didn't require nearly as much RAM power, so they were able to last a lot longer, whereas games on the 3DS and especially the Switch will require like a gazillion times more RAM power to function, and therefore, because of that, probably more battery power to function as well. See, gaming technology has come a long way since 1989 when the original Game Boy released, no doubt about that. But it has definitely gone backwards when it comes to battery life. And I do think that there is definitely a trade-off there, and I do think that some of it definitely is technological. That said, we also are living in a day and age where devices are getting, you know, I feel like refined a lot more and a lot more consistently, which begs the question, Nintendo, because they have been able to do this with the products to refine them before, when will they release some sort of patch or some sort of fix or some sort of anything that might enhance the battery life of their handheld consoles, such as the Nintendo Switch? I would love to be able to play all my Switch games anywhere to my heart's content the way I'm able to play my Game Boy games to my heart's content. I don't understand why it takes so long now for Nintendo to do that. It just feels a little bit cheap to me, honestly. The other issue is that these had batteries that you had to put in, whereas a lot of systems nowadays have batteries that are sort of in there already, and you have to just get a charger to consistently recharge the batteries. That's different from like the Game Boy, because the batteries, when they're dead, you just take them out and replace them and put them back in with new ones. But I'm frankly not sure what all the details are. Those are a few theories and suggestions. I'm sure some of you guys know more as well. Really, the point of this video is to talk about what it's like going back and playing some of the older Game Boy games, and the experience that I had playing this game versus the experience I had playing newer handheld games. And this is just the first in a series, and next time I might talk about things that I prefer about handheld gaming nowadays, and there are plenty of them. But one of the big things that I much prefer about the Game Boy is its battery life being absolutely stellar. Like, I can turn this bad boy on and play it for hours and hours and hours. I never have to worry about the battery life until it gets down to like its last digits, and even then there's usually still a few hours left. When it comes to the Switch's battery life, even the Nintendo 3DS's battery life, I'm constantly like scrambling to make sure I have enough battery to just get through the end of a certain level or stage to the next save point before it runs out, and before I can find my power charger. Maybe I'm just complaining, but I don't think so. I think I'm making a very important philosophical point. What do you think? Until my next video, I'll see you ladies and gentlemen on the other side.